Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody. Happy Valentine's Day, because
Oh, yes.
we're pre-recording, but you're hearing it today on February 14th, and in the US, that's Valentine's Day. So,
Yes.
so
We,
our,
we,
our
we love you. Uh,
special
we have those little candies, that you gave out in school. We
conversation
hand
heart.
them out to all of our listeners. So,
We should, for next year, get branded conversation hearts that say the exchange and hand those out to
you see, you're brilliant. Brilliant. But
and
speaking
I
of love, yes, before we started, the gods of the internet were not necessarily loving me. We were getting some disruptions. We should probably dive in while it's not glitching out. So,
Yeah, we're going to dive in. And, this is one of those weeks where kind of consumer shopping behavior really popped out at me this week. Those are some of the things in my feed. So I thought, two different articles talking about consumer shopping behavior. And I thought,
yep.
let's just start with that, because I don't think either of these two stories are going to be earth shattering for anybody when you put your consumer hat on. You know how every now and then I like to see myself in data. So the first piece that I had come across in this context was this PepsiCo Pepviz report about omni-channel shopper growth, and talking about, kind of the shifts in consumer behavior, and really saying that they're going to a lot of places, right? I forget what the stat was from that article, but they are I think it was like upwards of 15, different places to shop across the ecosystem. And also pigeon tailing onto that, or dovetailing, which one is it? Adding on, building on,
I think.
dovetailing.
Yeah.
Just getting
What's the difference? I think pigeons and doves are basically the same thing, but
getting my birds mixed up. And the other article talks about, the trend of hopping, so the idea that you go out for groceries and you hop from store to store, or you're making decisions about, maybe I'm doing curbside pickup for this one, but I'm going into this store and I'm having this one delivered. Just the vast variety and diversity of how people are shopping, in particular for food and beverage. It's so interesting. I don't know if you can see yourself in these two pieces.
Yes. Oh, wait, there's multiple places that we even out here in the boonies, right? There are.
You include farm stands in your regular.
Yes. I mean, yes, absolutely. There's probably our weekly shopping constitutes at least 6 different companies, including online. So not so much delivery, although like Amazon, yes, but and that's, so let's turn to the research stuff. The issue there is, look at companies like Walmart, right, that are building very robust insights, or Kroger 8451, dunnhumby, through Tesco, but they're only capturing a channel, even though it is omni-channel. So as sophisticated as that is getting, of the ability to collect shopper data within a specific retailer, this type of choice says there is still a need to try and understand paths to purchase and the consumer journey and all that sits outside of these retailers that are leveraging their data really effectively. Because we consumers are complicated things, and we make different decisions. Yeah.
Well, this was cool. I hadn't looked into Pepviz, so I didn't really know that Pepsi was kind of collaborating with retailers in that way, with their own sort of data collaboration and sort of sharing out to their, again, retail partners. And I'm like, all right, that's cool. A little business model that I didn't know PepsiCo was doing. So, pretty neat.
Yep.
We're in an age of data sharing, right? So speaking of Walmart and all that they're doing, and it's not just on the retailer side, it's in the other direction as well. It's super interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I don't think we included this link in here, but we can give a shout out that, because Circana announced the expansion of their shopper panel. And first you think, oh, well, why? This is an example why those companies that are building large shopper panels, Numerator, all of those folks that are capturing purchase data are absolutely still important parts of the ecosystem.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So speaking of shoppers, this piece you found also really interesting, come from a consumer behavior standpoint, study just showing the adoption of augmented reality interfaces. So Stats on that are that adoption remains low for augmented shopping apps, right? Or augmented reality shopping. It says that 66% of US adults are unaware or uninterested or just not using, AR shopping apps, or at least that feature in the apps that offer them. But I think what's really interesting is that is down from 83% just a few years ago. So even though the headline of the article says it remains low, I mean, the drop from 83 to 66 in just 5 years at the most, I think it is, from 2019 to 2024, because that's when this study was kind of shared. Anyway, I think that's kind of interesting because we're getting there.
Yeah. I think that just haven't found the killer app yet, right? I mean, there's the coolness factor, but what's
putting a piece of furniture into your living room or something like that, or putting a I think I just put I just did it. I just did it with this water bottle. No joke. I put it on my coffee table when I was sitting on my couch with my Amazon app, and I put this on my coffee table. And then I took a screenshot and I sent it to my kids because I said I'm, getting on the, Awala bandwagon, which my Gen Z daughter was going to be proud of me for. So, anyway.
We've tried it here or there. Some of the painting stuff, right? For with home decoration, but no, not extensively. Even the kids were playing like Pokemon Go, right? That's and those type of things, or Minecraft had a AR. Was it Minecraft World? I think a novelty, interesting, fun for a little bit, but nothing that for us that I found like this is invaluable in my daily life. And now my wife, she does the reskeet. She will scan. Yeah, I know. I can't even talk. We're recording this early, guys.
You need receipt, right?
She will often do the barcode scanning and look across multiple stores for comparative shopping. I don't know if that's quite augmented reality, but I think it's at least in the ballpark. But sorry, I'm going off in different directions. It's about the killer app. Yeah. So, what is the invaluable thing that just makes our lives so much better? I think that's probably the challenge in here, is just finding that consistent solution that is just, I have to use it every day because it unlocks value for me, makes my life easier, saves me money, does something of that nature.
Right. But, if you are looking for, again, in my case, it was a water bottle. What difference does it make if my water bottle's on the coffee table with the other Awala water bottles, which was the inside joke. But if I was looking for a new coffee maker, I might want to, pull it up, see what that one looks like on my counter compared to the big footprint of the one that I have, or, things like that. Like, I think home appliances, countertop fixtures, that makes a lot of sense to me. Maybe pillows for my bed, that may make a lot of sense to me if I'm not going to Home Goods or wherever else I might buy new pillows or something. So I think there's certain, in that kind of home category, certain use cases that, I can totally see myself probably in the numbers of, the 15% that are already there.
Yep. Absolutely.
Cool. Anyway, I also thought it was interesting. I don't know if you saw this, when you dug into that data, into that article, I mean, the data was provided to eMarketer, which is where the article came from, by Civic Science. So shout out.
I didn't catch that. So, all right.
I see you.
Yeah, John Dick and team. So very cool.
Pretty cool.
All right, cool. Well, do we want to talk about industry activity, because there was some interesting stuff this week?
And this first one, you spotted this one, I think in your LinkedIn newsfeed, about field notes, and I just thought, like, this is really great. So Juliana Romano shared that smartphone qual platform Field Notes, right, opened free access to both freelancers and job seekers. So letting them kind of run whatever sessions they may want to run, do their own research, like share their own kind of thought leadership studies, maybe, like whatever they might want to do with it, they can do with it. I thought, well, there you go. That is not only generous, but certainly generous in spirit, but certainly, a great way to raise awareness of your platform by giving people free access to it. whatever pro bono projects you might want to be working on. Like, I just thought that's really cool. Good for them. So
Yeah.
glad you
And
found that.
and isn't there? So I didn't look at it at the application itself, but I thought there's also, my impression was, an opportunity for collaboration for freelancers to, oh, I need a moderator or an interviewer for this, and this network of folks, of users, could pop in. Oh, hey, I'm free, and I'll go do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Julia, she shared on the, kind of in the comments when you looked at them, they're going to be, doing some intro sessions for freelancers. So find her on LinkedIn. We can provide that link probably. Get it by the time tomorrow this gets live. And anyway, so, join that info session, check it out. Again, freelancers and job seekers. I really liked that part, because a lot of times when you are in the job market, from what I understand, people are looking for ways to just keep momentum going in the field so that they, don't start to get into that depressed, despondent stage. But look at me, I'm still doing stuff. I'm active, I'm contributing, and that momentum helps propel you forward to your next position. So I think it's a really, really value added thing. Of course, I also am quite biased because I'm on the board, or sit on the board, for Greenbook on the Insights Career Network. So I just kept thinking of all of these people that that's going to be such an asset for. So
absolutely, and a great way to kind of reskill, and as well as things evolve.
Yes.
So very hats off, Field Notes. Very cool idea. So
very, very cool.
Then
why don't you share the next one? Yeah, GetWhy.
That was a surprise. So research tech company GetWhy, another 8.4 million in funding, bringing this total to 64.5.
Right.
Which, that was the numbers, like, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I did not realize that they had gotten so much venture funding.
And I think that was their last round was just in July of 2024. So that's at least what I had seen. So 6 months later, or maybe not 8 months later, they're getting even more. So what does that go to show you?
Shows are growing.
Very cool.
Investors try not to throw good money after bad. So, when you see those types of rounds, it's because there is growth. There's some strategic plan that is accelerating. Could have been somewhat bridge, funding for a transaction. Don't know any of those things, but it's an example that the technology companies continuing to flourish in this era. Not all, but obviously GetWhy appears to have found a really good niche. So that was interesting.
Hats off to them. So one other thing in this article, again, it's deep in there. I think it's way at the bottom, but it's a stat that I'm like, all right, I'll quote that stat at some point, but let's quote it now. I have it in my separate notes. I don't know if it's in the same things, but the market research services market size was estimated at 90 billion in 2024 and predicted to grow to 93 billion in 2025. So I don't know how that compares to other stats that you have. That was a report from a market analysis from the business research company. So
yeah, I don't know if I buy that, but it's all definitional, right? So market research services, what is, that's a language issue. So if they're talking about technology platforms that serve the market research industry and with a very small level of service, I'll buy that number. If they're talking about full service research, that would fly. Traditional service first business, that flies in the face of every other number that I've seen. But I won't. That's all nuanced stuff. We need standard definitions in this industry so badly. We really do, to define who we are and what and how we categorize everything. But that is the demand for insights growing. Yes, I will not disagree with that whatsoever.
To the tune of 3 billion more this year.
Sure. I wouldn't. If we factored in the growth of the we'll talk about the sorry, it is really early. The deep research, things like that, right?
Yeah.
The growth of these AI-driven solutions that are maybe to some extent eroding traditional research suppliers, but they are expanding the market for
Yeah.
insights.
Yeah.
I wouldn't hesitate a bit to say
Yeah.
that the everything is growing.
Yeah. 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 It's pretty
The
cool.
pie's getting bigger. How it's cut up, that's changing, right?
Yeah. So speaking of that pie, that growing pie, right? You found this article about Reddit,
Yep.
and how they're partnering with ICE, which is the Intercontinental Exchange, on data sharing, right? So analyzing user conversations for financial industry insights. So that's a new, maybe Reddit's rolled into there as well, right? As
Yes.
an insight company at this point, right? We've been
Yeah.
talking about that for a while, but leveraging their discussions for new data products, but specifically in the financial industry. So cool. I like that application.
Yep, absolutely. And yes, so that would be part of the definition, right, of the expansion of that, and another way to leverage data and insights and conversation. And that's kind of social media analytics on steroids, but in a very focused way. Yeah, hats off to Reddit. They've been very smart about leveraging their data asset, which is probably a good segue into as we get into the AI, the AI part of our business.
Halfway through the meeting, halfway through the live stream, that we should be really just focused on AI at this point.
That seems about how it goes. So
yeah. All right, this first one I'll just share. It's really quick. It's a LinkedIn post. Third week in a row I'm mentioning Donovan Andrews. So again, if you are not following him, you should. Ogilvy consultant who really has his pulse on the big four and everything that they're doing as well. So he's shared a post that talks about AI investment surging, with 68% of business leaders planning to spend 50 to 250 million on GenAI in the next year. And it to quote, reflecting a shift from experimentation to implementation. That's it. That was a nice 2 years. So 2 years to experiment. Here we are. It's go time. So interesting post. Definitely worth checking out.
Yep. And we've seen other numbers recently that we've cited that are very similar. We are in the implementation phase now. So,
yeah. So you found the CX article, or at all? I'm like,
you did.
Now
You did. That was the last minute edition this morning.
So it was, I think there's a link in there's a link in this next post, and then there's another link in that. So there's actually, two things to share here. I'm sorry, I'm doing a lot of talking. I'll let you take over shortly.
No, I like your voice better than I like my own, and I'm sure our audience does too. So go ahead. So
the AI is reshaping customer experience. So brands are leveraging GenAI to personalize interactions at scale. So again, another LinkedIn post. And this post, this is another, gentleman that I follow who I think is just incredibly cool and tapped into all things AI at this point. But it references these top AI trends in CX work. And so, the reason for bringing this up is sort of the adjacencies, the overlaps for all the things that we talk about in CX, right? Anyway, a lot of cool trends to talk about, from AI personalization and CX becoming a profit center. There's a lot of different things being mentioned in there, ethical AI, et cetera, et cetera. And then there's another link within the LinkedIn post. So anyway, check it out if you're in the CX space. It's cool to think about not just how AI is affecting the insights and analytics industry, but our kind of adjacency of the customer experience industry. It's all related.
Yep.
Pretty cool.
Well, and that's a good segue then of the OpenAI, the new trademark filing, robots, smart jewelry, et cetera, expansion of hardware. Nobody should be surprised. I think the promise is still from Tesla that we'll see their robots in the market this year. Here we are, guys. And as we talk about AI being this game change technology in so many ways, it certainly makes sense for embedding that within new electronics that I mean, a robot makes perfect sense, right? I've never driven a Tesla self-driving car or anything of that nature, but that fundamentally, that was AI. It was making decisions, et cetera, et cetera. We've seen the growth of these specific niche applications and broad applications, and now we're going to see them being applied again as we move into, the iRobot world. Or the Matrix or the Terminator. I'm not sure which one we're headed toward, but
right.
Anyway.
The jewelry, smart jewelry caught my eye. We had talked about, there was that pin. I remember that, it's something.
Oh, we were both excited. Like, oh, that'd be so cool, wouldn't it?
Like, that'd be cool. The word jewelry specifically caught my eye. I mean, here I have a pendant. That's interesting, to think about the jewelry application. So we've got not just robots, but we have glasses. We have perhaps a pin. Maybe it'll be in a necklace, a pendant that somebody could wear. I think this article, if you go deep, it mentioned, kind of headphones, right? Which reminded me, I had bought those translation headphones that I could put in an earbud or earpod or whatever.
Like a Babelfish type thing. Yeah. Okay.
And it literally translates. And I experimented with my daughter-in-law. It's a little clunky, but she spoke Portuguese and did translate to English for me. I was going to bring them to Bangkok with me to just kind of, see how that whole thing could play out. Really interesting. Anyway, just something that I geeked out about from a translation standpoint. Anyway, whether it's a laptop or a phone case or a watch, whatever, the idea of jewelry and these smaller objects, right? We're not talking about VR headsets. We're so beyond that at this point, although that's all a part of it. But anyway, OpenAI clearing the way for themselves should they want to get into some durable goods.
Yes, absolutely. And they'll all be doing that. Gosh, everybody had a smartwatch, right? At some point. And and we'll just see which one captures back to our augmented reality. What's the killer app? What becomes the thing that nobody, and interesting point. I was thinking, my wife bought me a Roomba for my birthday back in like 2010.
Yeah.
Something like that, right?
Yeah.
And it was pretty cool for like a month, and then it became a pain in the ass to maintain.
Yeah.
And we put it up. And I was like, I think about these, because while we're talking, I was thinking, am I an early adopter? And yes, I am an early adopter. I had Google Glass, just like Tim, right? I am. But I'm also really quick to say, this sucks, and put it up on the shelf. And that's the challenge as we're going through all these new introductions. There's a lot of folks that are going to get real excited and try it out and then realize, we're just not there yet. So manufacturers, do research to understand how your platform, how your solution becomes invaluable. So you don't have people like me, they're like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then like, I just threw away, whatever, for something that's just going to be like the Betamax of our time. It'll sit in a box in the closet.
Well, they all are, right? On some level, when I say they all, I mean, even my Apple Watch, like, I just could never lean into wearing an Apple Watch because I didn't want to be checking texts all the time. And that was sort of the point of it. But I found myself, and I still to this day, when people like are mid conversation and they look at their wrist as if that text is more important than what we're talking about. It's one of those things I have an aversion to. Smartwatch.
Me too. Got one. It was kind of cool for a couple months, and it's like not even charged, sitting up in my bedroom.
Yeah. And I was like, I don't want to behave this way, therefore I cannot wear the watch because I am going to behave that way. So how would I be though if my pendant was, I keep thinking pendant because it's, like I said, it's a jewelry. I went to necklace. How would I feel if this was kind of doing something for me? I don't really know. I'm still keen on trying like the Ray-Ban sunglasses. Like that is still something that I would like to do. And I just think there's something cool about those because I want to see the actual functionality of what they're doing. Anyway, again, maybe in North America, maybe we'll get a pair of sunglasses and
maybe. Oh, apologies. It is morning in the Murphy household. If you heard background noise, barely.
Well, let's wrap this up because there's two There's two. One of them you alluded to earlier. Should share a little bit about the deep research. This is sort of an article. I didn't get to digest it all.
Well, actually, let's talk about the AI training thing real quick, because this was a court ruling. I think it was on behalf of Reuters. That training on copyrighted data is not fair use. That has very, very broad and significant implications, right? So this has all been kind of boiling out there for a little while. Here it cuts the chase for us. We've been saying for quite some time that the value of permission purpose-built AI training sets would increase as one is they exhausted everything available online, or it was shut down because it's copyrighted material. Here we are. That's happening. I guarantee you that the OpenAI is going, shit, right? This has real significant implications for them, for those models of the general use AIs trained off of the internet. So so what's the next step? Oh, well, we need to start building purpose-built AI training sets off of permissioned, owned, protected data. And if I'm a brand, right, I'm commissioning research. So I'm P&G, right? My go-to example. I'm commissioning research. I own that data. I'm gonna feed into my own LLM. And I'm going to build these solutions off of data I own. I have extracted, I've engaged with an ecosystem. Our industry is already perfectly positioned to facilitate that type of model. I think it's what we do already. So I think this is good news for the industry. As far as we are in the business of collecting and monetizing data assets. I encourage everybody, we must think through that lens. Because that's the world we live in, and this court ruling, is indicative that is true. There's my soapbox.
Can I go down a rabbit hole? Can I jump off your soapbox into a rabbit hole?
Absolutely. You go down the rabbit hole as I step off my soapbox. So yes.
All right. So what my brain is thinking, and I'll get to the analogy that I'm talking about. What my brain is thinking of is I'm thinking, you mentioned P&G, I'm thinking PepsiCo, I'm thinking Mondelez, I'm thinking all of these big CPG companies. And I'm thinking their LLMs are only going to be as good as the data scientists and the coders and the developers that are working for them now. Right? So it suddenly makes me think about, here's the analogy that I'm making. When you are ever diagnosed with a medical condition, right? We both have experience with that. Somebody at one time had said to me was, you want to go to the best hospital, the best medical center, because you want everybody in that machine to be the best they can get. So if you're having radiation treatment for your cancer, you don't just want the best oncologist, you want the best radiologist, you want the best anesthesiologist. If you have to have surgery, you want the best person reading the x-ray scans or the MRI scans. So you want all of the best people, which is why you go to these major, medical centers like Sloan Kettering or Yale or Johns Hopkins or, like you mentioned.
Mayo. I went to Mayo for
exactly. Cleveland Clinic, because you go to where there's not just one good doctor, but the team of doctors working together or professionals working together are going to deliver the ultimate and the best care. That's why that's why they have the reputation they do. Okay, back to this. These large consumer products companies or any other kind of company that is going to be building these themselves off of their proprietary data need the best data scientists and the best developers, the best coders. They need the best on their teams in order for theirs to be the best technology to have the best results. So I think that's going to be a little race within the race.
It is.
And hiring and who are you putting in place? Those are people that we're going to have to watch for those hiring announcements.
Absolutely. And increasingly, that does not necessarily mean someone, well, actually, it probably does not mean, a 30, 40-year-old person with a master's in computer science, right? I mean, a lot of the folks that are, and we see it in our headlines. I don't want to go into the details on all of that, but, we see examples of headlines of just young, super smart coders, engineers,
Yeah.
going in and just kind of that hacker mentality, right? And just they've
Yeah.
got these skills and they go in and they create stuff and they move fast and they do those things. Those skill sets in this world are invaluable, and it's a very different hiring profile. It has implications for just how we think about accessing the appropriate resources and skills to build that vision. It's all interesting. You pull these threads, right? And they're just like, wow, there's all types of interesting permutations that just change how we think about business. And the structure of our business of businesses going forward. Fascinating stuff.
Cool stuff. Cool stuff. All right, we're close to wanting to wrap. So
we
again,
are. Let's do that.
You go.
The OpenAI's deep research, really interesting thing to read. Analysis on, it does lots of cool stuff, and it does a whole lot that, or it doesn't do a whole lot that is needed, and that it actually this reviewer's overall take, and I have not. Deep research isn't available in the US, so I have not reviewed that. This person's take was it actually reinforces the need for smart humans and expertise to really unlock the value. It create the process great, efficient process. I will say this week I was doing some similar stuff as I tend to do now, not using deep research, but trying to combine some things it saves time, but it ain't smart, right? It still requires a human who understands the topic to really drive it to nuance. So I find that very hopeful and encouraging. This article does as well.
Cool.
And then if you're not too sick of listening to my voice and me soapboxing, our good friends at AYTM launched a podcast. They asked me to be on the inaugural edition of it. We recorded this right before the holidays. I go back and I re-listened and I thought I sound pretty smart. We
love honesty. We really do.
We talked a lot about grit. We talked a lot about AI, and it is the culmination of this perspective, right? What we've been doing every week now for what are we going on 2 years now?
Well, we're at a year and a half.
Okay,
we'll be 2 years in the end of July, I think.
Right. So the only useful thing about a conversation like that, if you can get past my voice and me being annoying and an asshole and all those things, is that the opportunity to sit down and have that type of conversation allowed me to kind of focus all of the learnings and everything that we've been talking about in one place, in a more casual, type of situation. So if you're interested at all in kind of the synthesis of everything we've been talking about in one conversation, then that's useful. If you're like, man, no way in hell I'm listening to you for an hour, Lenny, 30 minutes is enough, then please don't click on the link. But thank you to our friends at AYTM for inviting me.
Yeah, cool. Very cool.
There we go.
Well, sir, that's our show. So I hope everybody has a great weekend, a great week ahead. And there will be a special guest with Lenny next week because I will be in Bangkok at our APAC event, and unable to make this show because that's quite a time change. So stay tuned and see what Lenny's bringing to the show.
Yeah. All right. So we'll keep it secret. I guess.
I think that would actually be fun.
Yeah. It's gonna be great. You think I talk a lot? And every word is gold. Every single word is gold.
It's going to be a great conversation. Yes, we'll keep it secret because that's actually feels really fun to me right now. I promise you I will listen when I get back. So we'll talk about it the following Friday on a debrief. But you all enjoy the week. Enjoy the show next week. We'll talk soon.
Everybody take care. Bye-bye.
All right.